It is my honor to introduce a very special guest speaker here tonight. She is someone most of you in the advertising industry already know, Kelly Fredrickson. She comes with her own fan club. She's president of MullenLowe Boston and New York. But what you may not know about Kelly is that she is also a passionate blogger who has a fascinating personal story, which we asked her to share with a group tonight. Her story is a reminder that everyone comes to diversity with a not so obvious story. Please welcome Kelly Fredrickson.
Thank you to my fan club. Here we are. Thank you, Kathy and the Ad Club and the Rosoff family for creating the Rosoff Awards and consistently raising the dialogue about equity and inclusion. I'm humbled by the invitation to speak to you. Kathy read one of my blog posts from 2017, written a few hundred days into the current administration, and she asked me to read it to you tonight. For context, I am the oldest of 6, and I am the only white child in my family. I was born in Detroit, and the woman my mother shared a hospital room with was having her 13th child, and she left the hospital days before my mother did to take care of her family. There was a nursery ward filled with babies waiting for adoption or for placement in foster care, and my mother and father walked out of the hospital holding me, their first child, with the determination that they would build their family a little differently than the rest of their friends. My sister Maria is 10 years my junior. This is me holding her before braces when she arrived from Colombia, and this is her holding my youngest son Troy when he was born 13 years ago. Of all my siblings, Maria and I are the closest. It's one thing to write a blog post and press send. It's another thing to read it out loud. But here goes. Dear Maria, I have loved you since the moment you came home from Colombia. I have laughed and cried with you. I have watched you outrun and outplay everyone who you competed against. I was witness at your wedding and celebrated the adoption of your sons and their homecoming from Haiti. I have been lucky to be with you for many of the big and small moments in your life. But this is a letter of apology for all that I missed. I didn't really know what it was like for you to go through the world. I am trying to understand that. I am trying to be better. I want to acknowledge and take responsibility for my white privilege, not just love you and hope that is enough. I am saddened and frustrated with what's happening. It is keeping me up at night, as I am sure it is doing to you. And if I really dig into this feeling and get honest with myself, I am frustrated with me. Frustrated that I continue to be surprised by the toxic, racist, anti-Semitic, hateful happenings. I am white. That is why I continue to be surprised. It's that simple. You know this. I am learning. Forgive me. I went back to the Unitarian Universalist Church of our childhood the Sunday after the election, looking for comfort in that sanctuary of love and kindness where we were raised. Excuse me. The minister looked out at our faces and was confronted with the tough job of comforting us. She said that she didn't think the election was evidence that things were worse than we thought they were. She said that she thought the election was evidence of things being uncovered. uncovered. I sat with that for a long time. Uncovered. Things that I thought were in our past. Things like racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, and hate. Had they just gone underground? Had they been covered up, not solved? And now, do they have license to come out? This was not a comforting thought. Uncovered, you knew this. I am learning. Forgive me. Now, 200 days, this was in 2017, 200 days into the new administration, the minister was right. Things are being uncovered, and it is awful. And I am scared and worried about you and your sons and for every person of color. I need to wake up. I need to stop being surprised. I am starting by apologizing to you. Because as enlightened as I like to think I am, I was fooling myself. I can be more aware. I can be better. You knew this. I am learning. Forgive me. I found an essay from Peggy McIntosh, written in 1988, the year I graduated college, written not 100 years ago, but 30. And she could have written it today. She wrote, "White Privilege, Unpacking the Invisible Backpack." And in it she says, "I have come to see white privilege as an invisible package of unearned assets that I can count on cashing in every day, but about which I was meant to remain oblivious. White privilege is like an invisible, weightless knapsack of special provisions, maps, passports, code books, visas, clothes, tools, and blank checks." She goes on to list the 50 ways we can be more aware. Reading this helped me to see the world through your eyes, Maria. Reading one of these a day might help me to wake up and stop being surprised. Number 34 knocked me over. I can worry about racism without being seen as self-interested or self-seeking. Number 27 helped me to see what I need to do differently as a leader. 27. I can go to home from most meetings of organizations that I belong to, feeling somewhat tied in rather than isolated, out of place, outnumbered, unheard, held at a distance, or feared. We are the ones who are covering things up. We are the ones who need to do the uncovering. We need to name and denounce racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, and hate. We need to acknowledge and take responsibility for our white privilege. This is how we start. You knew all of this. I am learning. Forgive me. Since writing that letter, I have worked hard to be better. Here's what I've learned. Being a diverse organization means that we can create an environment that demands a need for engagement, where questions are asked and there is an openness for them to be heard. I have a rule at work that ensures this environment respects all questions, but demands that you do not respectfully disagree with the person who is sharing a point of view that they came to because of their ethnicity or sexual orientation. If a person of color tells you that what you are about to do offends them, you cannot respectfully disagree with them. Instead, you can thank them. Instead, you can thank them. You can say, how can I help? And how can I be better? I learned this from my colleagues at Black at Mullen. Let's see, did it turn? There they are. Black at Mullen is a community of people who have come together to support one another as they grow in their careers. My job as a leader is to support them. My real job as a leader is to shut up and listen to them. to make sure they have what they need to do the things that they feel are important to create a thriving culture. One of them said to me, "Kelly, you're really good at inviting everyone to the table, but you never ask us what we want to have served." So for Black History Month, we celebrated the way this team wanted to. We hired only Black caterers for all of our meetings in February. And we invited everybody into the cafeteria to watch homecoming. The last thing I will share with you that I have learned is that it is not enough to be an ally. We all need to be more than that. We need to be accomplices. We need to take responsibility and not just create diverse organizations, but show up every day, acknowledge the invisible backpack of special provisions we were given, and make sure to help take the heavy rocks out of the backpacks others are carrying. Thank you.